Time for the Thursday night Super Sharp Report. Remember, this is made possible in no small part thanks to mybookie.ag. Win-win for everybody involved. You will go to a bookmaker, a sports book that will pay you on time each and every time. Very easy deposit, easy withdrawal. Plus, they have the largest sign-up bonus in the history of any legitimate and thoroughly vetted sports book. 100% sign-up bonus if you use the promo code Duffy, D-U-F-F-Y, and it will also show your support of this podcast. Look, we'll do them many times a day. I'm not going to lie to you. I follow the money. So if you guys show your support, whether it's retweets or likes or even comment, and most importantly, set up an account at mybookie.ag using the promo code of Duffy to get that 100% sign-up bonus. Rest assured you'll be paid on time. We'll certainly be happy to do more and more of this free information. OffshoreInsiders.com thoroughly recommends mybookie.ag. Tonight, Jacksonville and Tennessee. Tennessee is up to a 5.5-point favorite in many areas. You can still find 5 if you do shop around other thoroughly vetted sports books at OffshoreInsiders.com. The total, also shop around. 37 is some places, 37.5. It's kind of evenly divided. Looks, almost exactly evenly divided among the sports books. This opened up Tennessee 4-38, so obviously the public betting on the chalk and slightly betting on the under. 64% of the bets are on Tennessee compared to 77% of the money, so a slight gap there. And that's, somewhat low. I mean, a fairly low percent as far as the percentage of bets. The public loves betting favorites. They especially love betting favorites in primetime games. And same thing here with the totals. The public generally loves betting totals. Only 54% they love betting overs. Only 54% of the bets are on the over. And here a mild surprise, 52% of the money on the under. But the money is more likely to go under than the percentage of bets. The money generally considered more the sharp indicator, the percentage of bets, to be the square indicator. And of course, we use that to your advantage when we give you the sharp versus square report. And speaking of that sharp versus square report, in the NBA, there's no consensus when it comes to number of bets. The money, though, 80% of the money on the Utah Jazz. And we have a surprise, despite the short card, 2 games that qualify as sharp versus square or pros versus Joes. Boston and Phoenix, both fairly strong pros versus Joes plays according to the metrics that we do use. And, somewhat surprising that we actually have some totals. Well, one total that is an overwhelming consensus, both in a percentage of bets. 81% of the tickets written on Houston over. This is based on offshore and Las Vegas sports books, and 82% of the money on the Houston Rockets to go over. Sharp versus square metrics, yet again a pretty sharp bet. We do have the Utah Jazz to go under the total as the biggest sharp move. By the way, more NFL action coming up in a moment. Let's take a look at college basketball, especially when it comes to the sides. Not much of a consensus when it comes to the number of bets. When it comes to the amount of money, Charlotte's at 79%, Drake at 78%, and a decent sharp move, sharp versus square, on Cal Riverside. When it comes to totals, slightly, 80% of the tickets are on Charlotte over, 88% of the money on UC Riverside under, and your biggest sharp versus square would be Fairfield to go under the total. And let's take a look at some trends for tonight. All records are against the spread. Jacksonville, 8-17 after allowing less than 15 points in their previous game. 2-6 after scoring less than 15 points in their last game. The Tennessee Titans are 12-4 at home. And the Titans are 15-33 against teams with a losing record. 19-45 the Titans are. The Titans are 13-42 after getting more than 250 yards in their previous game. Some head-to-head action. The home team is 5-2-1 in the series. Over-unders. Jacksonville is going under 14-6 to the AFC. And Tennessee's going over 39-18 against teams with a losing road record. And yes, we do see we have a question. We do these live broadcasts, although not regularly scheduled. Sorry there, Ninja. Yeah, let me add it to, ay caramba, why is this not showing up the way, there we go. Let's see, add to the broadcast, Ninja. Hello, add to, yeah, there we go, Ninja. No, we do see a Ninja. Lots of laugh, saying hello, and then you did ask, I think, about the, there we go, let's put this comment. You asked to think about the Drake contest. We do not have a premium pick on the Drake contest, and in fact, I don't know if any of our other services do. No, it does not look that any of our services do. I see Stevie Vincent with a big play in college basketball, but not on that. Yeah, Drake versus Milwaukee. Yeah, as far as the sharp moves, though, it's interesting you should ask about that. Why don't we hop, skip, and a jump there? The biggest line move, we don't have any significant line moves in the NBA for today, but the biggest line move of the day is in college basketball. Milwaukee opened up as a 2-point favorite. Drake is now let's try this again. Milwaukee opened up as a pick. Drake is now a 2.5-point favorite. Now, as a general rule of thumb, Ninja 13, and we don't do it quite as much in the past, we did have a system that was pretty good, wasn't quite up to our standard. It's now corroborating that we do like the opening line as a power number and generally fade line moves, and then we used to combine it with the Ken Palm, which is one of the better mathematical things. It's still pretty good as corroborating data. So as a general rule of thumb, we've had okay success in the past, and those power ratings, artificial intelligence power ratings, would tell us to go with Milwaukee in those circumstances, but we've been frankly weighing them much less in previous years, and no small part due to the fact that we've had some spectacular systems that have popped up over the years, and we're just getting better and better with our systems and our metrics, and that's one of the reasons why we're slightly weighing some of the other stuff. But yeah, as far as our corroborating data, Milwaukee would be a slight lean. Let's take a look at the best spread teams to bet on this year based on the so-called sweat barometer. New Orleans is 9-3 this year. They're covering by an average of 7.7 points per game. And let's see, Ninja says, yeah, we did Drake. Yeah, we did mention the Drake Milwaukee game. They do slightly change the total on the Drake game. There we go. Offhand, let me try to add this, Ninja. We want to, I don't know, they keep changing our we love our software that they use, but then they keep changing, there we go. Now I can add it to the broadcast. They keep changing and updating our software that we use, and, yeah, let me tell you, all right, you're asking about that. We don't have a pick. Truthfully, our systems in college basketball, of all the major sports, the ones that we have the fewest number of systems is in college basketball, and in college basketball totals, I should say. That's where we have the fewest number of systems. Don't have a play on that and don't have the access to, but as far as the projected score, another we found with Ken Palm, usually if you don't get a lot more than like a 5 or 6 point difference on Ken Palm, still have found that pretty good comparing the power ratings on Ken Palm to the line. But we don't have a play on that game, either a side or a total, and I don't think, neither do any of our other sports services. Kansas City, the number 3 team in the NFL, 8-3-1, covering by an average of 5.5 points per game. Who have been the best teams to go against this year? Oakland is 4-8, minus 6.9. Cincinnati is 5-7, minus 5.7 points per game. Now, this is an interesting difference between the spread records and the so-called sweat barometer, or the margin of cover. And we find that the margin of cover, if you believe in it, is a little bit better than the spread records because, look, a team could be barely covering the spread, and in games that they do cover and then games that they lose, they could be losing by wide margins. Well, Arizona is definitely doing that. Arizona is 6-5-1 against the spread this year, yet they're failing to cover by an average of 4.9 points per game. Jacksonville, though, 4-6-2 by an average of 4.2 points per game. And the Falcons, conversely, they're a horrific 3-9 against the spread, but they're only failing by an average of 4.1. So based on one metric, you would say Atlanta is a much worse spread team than Arizona is, but based on the other metric, when you're talking about how much a team is overvalued or undervalued, we prefer the against the spread margin, the so-called sweat barometer, and that would say that Arizona is a little bit overrated. And in fact, the theory being that Arizona, since they're a pretty good spread team, but they're missing covering by a large margin, that they would be one of the more overvalued teams at this point. Why don't we take a look at the top over-under teams in the NFL this year? Kansas City been the top over team, going over 7-4-1 by an average of 10.8 points per game. Another one here where the Rams are actually 6-6 to the over-under, but they're going over by an average of 7.8. Cincinnati has gone over 8-4 by an average of 6.1 points per game. Chicago, the same thing, over 8-4, but by an average of only 5.6. But then again, that makes sense because they have generally low totals. Top under team, the Jaguars, playing tonight. Jaguars have gone under 7-5, but by an average of 6 points per game. Washington, Dallas, and Tennessee have all gone under 7-5 as well. Washington by 4.2. Same for Dallas, actually, 4.2. Tennessee by an average of 4 points per game. Then conversely, Philadelphia's been a big under team in terms of record. They've gone under 8-4, but by an average of only 2.7 points per game. And yes, Ninja 13 does ask about our Thursday night football game. And all right, there we go. The most recently, there, yes, Ninja asking about our Thursday night football game. Well, we just talked about that, Ninja. We do have some very good metrics, and in fact, we do have a premium pick at offshoreinsiders.com. Joe Duffy's picks at offshoreinsiders.com. We had a very mild lean towards the under, but it frankly did not even come close to a premium pick. And in fact, here's one that did. I apologize. On my last broadcast, I wound up skipping the free pick. Did not mean to do that. We do have a free pick for tonight. Iowa plus a 2.5 against Iowa State. Now, this is one of the many great reasons why I love computer software. There used to be an old adage, and in fact, I used to subscribe to it before we had computer software, and it did win in the very, very, very early years of gambling. There used to be an old adage to bet on unranked underdogs to ranked teams in both college football and college basketball. We found that, in fact, in the last about 15 years, it's been the polar opposite in college basketball. You actually want to go with the ranked underdog. You want to go with the ranked underdogs to the ranked teams to a tune of 213 and 112. For a couple reasons, didn't quite rise to the level of a premium pick, but definitely our strongest of any non-premium picks would be Iowa in college basketball. Once again, Iowa in college basketball. Ninja, Dobak, we thank you for your comments on our live broadcast, and like I said, we welcome comments either live or certainly one of the reasons we stopped scheduling it is because we found that even when we schedule a live time, still most of our views, not to mention our listens on our audio podcast, come on demand, and with the added flexibility that by just doing it when it's ready, that's helped. The one downside is we don't have as many opportunities to interact with people, which we greatly appreciate. But yeah, check out the entire podcast, Ninja, from the beginning. I know you're watching it live, but will be available on demand, and we do give you some Thursday night football trends. So make sure you visit it at offshoreinsiders.com for both the vetted sports books and the top sports service selections. In fact, the top total is on the Master Lock line. Master Lock line goes back to the Score Phone days. It's been around even longer than me. Master Lock line goes back to 1980. My picks have only been public since 1988. But remember, offshoreinsiders.com, where we trace our roots back to the Score Phone days.